Hello friends, welcome to Vittam Pravina Gurishala. In this video, we shall see what is the statistical background required to learn finance, what aspects of statistics one must essentially know and remember to understand application of finance. I repeat again and again, whatever the formula we find in the subject of finance, well, 90% of it is from time value of money. The other 10% is from statistics. And a strong foundation on this can certainly help understanding the subject better, the application of finance better. Let's see what should be known as a background for learning finance. Friends, what we should know in statistics is given data to find some statistical measures which we use for various decision making. Now, what measures should we know? How to find those measures is our focus. That depends upon the data what we have or what is given. Is it observed data or what we call as past data or projected data, estimated data? So depending on the data that we have, we should see what measures we need and how to calculate those measures. What is observed data? Data of the past. Let's say I have taken stock prices of past 1 year of a particular stock, the prices on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, etc. So that is the past. But let's say we project what may be the price 1 month later, 2 months later, etc. That is projected data. And since it's a projection, estimation, it's not certain. So what we do is attach something called whatever we projected, what is the probability, what is the possibility for that to happen. So broadly, we have two types of data, observed data or projected unprojected data. Observed data is also called as frequency distribution and projected data is also called as probability distribution. Let's see in both these cases, what measure should we need to calculate? Let's begin with observed or past data, observed or past data. And what measures to calculate and how to calculate depends on, do we have one set of data or two sets of data? It may be even more, but if we know for these two, one set of data, two sets of data, that's adequate. That is good enough. Now, what is one set of data? Past one set of data. Let's say we have compiled marks of some students in strategic financial management, SFM. 5 students, 10 students were compiled the marks. So one subject or a few students were compiled marks based on the past exams. It is past data for one set. But let's say we compiled marks of the past exam of 5 or 10 students in both strategic financial management and financial reporting or any other subject. So two subjects, two sets of data based on the past. Let's now begin with, if it is one set of data, what all to calculate, how to calculate, and this is a requirement. Now, let's say we have student number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, student, 5 students. The marks in one subject, let's say SFM, and usually these variables we denote with X, Y, etc. So let's say X. So X at present marks in SFM for 5 students. So out of 100 marks, let's say 49, 71, 63, 47, 51. Let's say. Now, this is the data we have. Now, in the example, it is marks, but in finance, what actually we find, what we come across, you will see very soon. For understanding, let's understand with this example of marks. Fine. Now, what should we find? Observed data, one set of data. First and foremost, we should find one number to represent this entire data. one number which can represent this data, and that one number is called measure of central tendency, average. So average is finding one number which can represent the entire data. Now, averages are of many types, but what is popularly used, calculated is what is called arithmetic mean. There are many other types of mean, geometric, harmonic, but our requirement is arithmetic mean. It's an average which represents the entire data, one number which represents the entire data. How to calculate this? So, one set of data, the very first measure we should always calculate is arithmetic. Friends, this is the formula to calculate arithmetic mean. X bar is how we denote summation x, total of all x values divided by n, number of items, number of observations. So here total of x 285 by number of observations 5. So what does it mean? On an average, students have scored 57 marks in this exam. So there may be some would have scored less, some would have scored more, but on an average, this is the mark scored in SFM in a given exam. Now, this is the first measure, but this alone would not be sufficient. For all analysis, what we need is from the central value, this measure what you calculated, what is the extent of variation, what is the extent of deviation we need. It's only that which helps us to make analysis better. In the context of what we discussed, this measure variation, we actually call it as risk, but those terms we'll see later. So we're calculating mean, arithmetic mean, average is the first measure we need when we have one set of data. We should also find what is a variation. Now, there are many measures of variation. We also call them as measures of dispersion, but most popular and what is very relevant and useful is something called standard deviation. So when it is one set of data, we need arithmetic mean and standard deviation. But how to calculate this standard deviation? Friends, this is the formula. Sigma is how we represent standard deviation, but this sigma is square root of something called variance. So to find standard deviation, first we should find what is called variance. And when you take square root of that, we get standard deviation. Now, how to calculate variance? Summation, total. This is called sigma, Z-I-G-M-A, sigma, summation, x minus x bar you know is mean whole square by n minus 1. Friends, these are all the values of x. This is x bar. So what we should do? X minus x bar. So each item x minus x bar, x minus x bar, x minus x bar. But it's not just sufficient to take deviation. That x minus x bar is called deviation. Square it. That whatever the square, what you get, take the total, divide by n minus 1. Now, just for simplicity, this deviations I denote it with small x. So the actual variable was capital X. This is small x. Okay. Small x. Let's see. Now, how to calculate? We know 57 is the mean, arithmetic mean. So 49 minus 57. 71 minus 57, 14. 63 minus 57, 6. 47 minus 57, minus 10. 55 minus 57, minus 2. So we have taken x minus x bar. But be careful. To find, have we done this correctly or not, you should apply a test. When you take the total of these deviations, it must be 0. Must be, because it's a deviation of the same number from each variable. The total must be 0. So that's a verification that all the deviations have been taken correctly. But as you can see here, our requirement is not x minus x bar square. So x square, x to the power of 2. So on Excel, this is how we represent. And please remember, small x represent x minus x bar. So this square, 14 into 14, 14 square, 14 square, 6 square, 10 square, minus 10 square, minus 2 square, minus 2 into minus 2. Now this is square. Take this total, take the total of this, and this total is what we call as summation, total of x minus x bar whole square. But how to find variance? Friends, variance is denoted as sigma square. Sigma means standard deviation. Square is how we denote variance. So square root of this will give us standard deviation. So this is how variance is denoted, sigma square. And how to find sigma square? This total divided by n minus 1. N here is 5. Now, quite often there is one dilemma, particularly the material given by Institute of Chartered Accountants shows variance as the total divided by n. Friends, we can use that formula when the data what we have is for the entire population. Where the data we have is for a sample, it must be divided by n minus 1. So please be careful. Many calculations given in the institute material is very wrong actually. Variance, if it's for a sample, then it has to be x summation x minus x bar whole square by n minus 1. Only when we completely know, confidently know that the data what is for entire population divided by n. So this divided by n minus 1, 5 minus 1, 4, 100 is variance. 100. But as I mentioned, our requirement is something called standard deviation. Standard deviation. And how to get standard deviation? Square root of variance. So if you have calculator, standard calculator, you know how to take square root. So 100 square root 10 is what we get. So we take. So this, and hope you remember our discussion on mathematics of finance. Square root is nothing but to the power of 1 by 2. So this is how I'm showing, but you can use calculator and calculate standard deviation. So standard deviation is square root of variance. So when we have one set of data, we must know how to calculate arithmetic mean, variance. The purpose of finding variance is to calculate standard deviation. You can't find standard deviation directly. Only once you find variance, square root of that will give a standard deviation. Our requirement is mean and standard deviation, but to find standard deviation, we calculate variance. Now, these are all what we need for one set of data. But in case, if you need, you can also calculate one more item called coefficient of variation. We call it as CV. CV, coefficient of variation. And what is this coefficient of variation? It is the relation between mean and standard deviation. So what percentage is the variation from the mean? So where standard deviation tells from mean what is the variation. So 57 marks is the average, but what it actually means is it's just an average. Does it mean everyone has scored 57? No. So what it means is the marks scored actually fall between 57 minus standard deviation, 57 plus standard deviation. What is the standard deviation here? 10. So 57 minus 10, 47. 57 plus 10, 67. So this is the meaning. The actual values fall between. Does not mean you may not have marks below that, but all this is average based. So on an average, marks scored by students in SFM is 57 with a variation of 10 marks. 57 minus 10, 57 plus 10. But the same variation, instead of showing it with marks in absolute measure, we show relative measure, which is called coefficient of variation. How do we calculate coefficient of variation? CV, standard deviation by mean into 100. So this is the standard deviation. This is the mean into 100, meaning into show it as percentage. So 17.54. What it means is the average marks is 57, but from there there's a variation of 17.54%. Now, let's say standard deviation is 0. What does it mean? From center point, no variation. So no scope for any deviations. Generally say no risk, but that terms we bring in later. But here there is a variation. So friends, whenever we have one set of data, these are the measures we must calculate. Just know these formula absolutely fine. This is our requirement. Simple. So when it is observed data, one set of data. First requirement is to calculate mean x bar, mean summation x by n. X is the variable. Variance is the next measure. The only purpose of finding variance is to help us to calculate standard deviation. So if you directly calculate, good, but obviously without the knowledge, what you're calculating is variance. How do we calculate variance? From every x value minus mean, arithmetic mean, square it. The total what you get divided by n minus 1 if it's a sample, and always the data what we will have will only be for the sample. No data can be available for entire population. In case it's available, divide by n. And square root of this will give us standard deviation, and CV is expression of standard deviation as a percentage of mean. Mean tells us on one number which can represent the data. Standard deviation tells us from that one number which represents the data what is the possible variation. And that same thing shown as a percentage is C. Now this is, if it is one set of data, what to do? So just for these four measures. But same observed or past data, let's say we have two sets of data. Two sets of data. So as I mentioned earlier, let's say student number. Let's say 5 students we take. We take 5 students. Let's say we take marks in subject 1. Marks in subject 1. And I call this as X. Any number, any nomenclature, but usually one variable we represent as X. More than one variable, Y, Z, etc. So marks in subject 2, let's call this as Y. So usually X and Y are the two standard nomenclatures we use. Oh. Now, X, let's say the marks are 54, 63, 82, 41, 50. This, let's say 66, 32, 48, 54, 60. Let's say. Now, we have two sets of data available. Now, what else should we find in this case then? If it is two sets of data, friends, whenever we have two sets of data, for each set, calculate as usual arithmetic mean, variance, standard deviation. If you need, you can also calculate CV. So for each set separately calculate all this. How to find, we already know. But in addition to that, since we have two sets of data, marks in subject 1, marks in subject 2, return on stock X, return on stock Y, whatever the data it could be, what we do, find for both sets together. So for each set we find these three. For both sets put together we find something called coefficient of correlation. What is it? Let us see. And also make something called regression equation. So we calculate a measure called correlation and we make an equation called regression equation when we have two sets of data. So for each set, first calculate mean, variance, standard deviation, and for both sets together calculate these two. Now, how to calculate mean and variance and standard deviation we already know. For that, mean, how to calculate, you know, we need to take deviations, x minus x bar, similarly y minus y bar, squaring it, all that should be done. And to calculate correlation and regression means something else. So friends, this is the standard what we do. This is always what we do. Whenever we have two sets of data, what I now show is the standard template you must follow. Keep so much ready, then any statistical measure required, you're ready to calculate anything required. So what should we do? First calculate mean as usual, arithmetic mean, How to calculate arithmetic mean? For that, first take the total of both x and y, whatever it could denote. Take the total. Okay. Is the total. Now, how to find arithmetic mean? We are aware. Summation x by n or summation y by n. So call this as x bar, y bar. So this divided by number of observations, 5. This divided by number of observations, 5 students. So the observation that what we have is 5 units, 5 items. So this is arithmetic mean. So whenever you have two sets of data, first keep so much ready. Then find small x and small y. Just for simplicity, say mention the small x and y. What is small x? X minus x bar. Small y, y minus y bar. Deviations. And how to take we know. 54 minus 58. So calculate. 63 minus 58, 5. 82 minus 58, 24. 41 minus 58, minus 17. 50 minus 58 minus 8. Take the total. Was the verification? This total must be 0. Similarly, y is y value, every y value, each y value minus mean. So 66 minus 52, 14. 32 minus 52 minus 20. 48 minus 52 minus 4. Plus 2 plus 8. And was a verification, the total must be 0. Now, once this is ready, as we did earlier, find x square and y square. So this is a standard template we must keep ready whenever we have two sets of data. So x square and y square. So x square minus 4 to the power of 2. Y 5 square 25. 24 square 576. 17 square 289. 64. Take the total. Similarly, y square, y to the power of 2, 14 to the power of 2, 196, minus 20 to the power of 2, 400, 16, 4, 8 square 64, take the total. Now, by now we are aware, if we have so much, we are ready to calculate variance and standard deviation. So for both x and y, we already have the mean, and with these values, we can find variance and standard deviation. So whatever we need to find for each set we have. But since it is two sets of data, we also need to find something called correlation, make a regression equation. So we need something else for it. How we need, let us say, but also calculate x into y, that is deviations of x into deviations of y. So here we took x square, y square. Also keep ready xy. So x minus 4 into 14. 5 into minus 20. 24 into minus 4. Minus 17 into 2. Minus 8 into 8. So get a number. What is it called? Let us see. Now this is total of x into y. Summation xy we say. And which x and y? The deviation, small x, small y. So that's what I said. A distinction we are mentioning it as capital X and small x. Capital Y, small y. Okay. Now this is what we have. So friends, whenever we have two sets of data, without even thinking of the requirement, doesn't matter, keep so much ready. So much of the format to keep ready. So x and y, the two variable, deviations, squares, product, we say x into y. Now let us calculate all the requirements. Let's see one by one. So for x, for y, already arithmetic mean we have, how much was the arithmetic mean? 58 and 52. 58 and 52. Okay. 58 and 52. Next, variance for x and for y. Variance. Now, what's the formula for variance? Summation total of x minus mean whole square by n minus 1. So, x minus x bar whole square total 970 by n minus 1. Please remember. So, it is 970 by n minus 1, 5 minus 1. Similarly, for y bar, for y, the variance will be 680 divided by 5 minus 1. So this is the variance. So we have for x and y arithmetic mean variance. The purpose of calculating variance is to help us to calculate standard deviation. How to find standard deviation? So in the calculator, 242.5 square root. 242.5 square root 15.57. Similarly, 170 square root 13.03. So this to the power of half, this to the power of half. So power of half, you're aware from a discussion on mathematics of finance. Hope you remember. Square root is as good as power of 1 by 2. Cube root power of 1 by 3. But in calculator, you can calculate standard deviation. And in case when we have a need, if there is a need, we also find coefficient of variation, CV, which is standard deviation by mean into 100. Only whenever need, we calculate. When will the need be? In the discussion of the subject, you will understand it. Right? Fine, we have for both the sets, each set, mean, variance, standard deviation. But as I mentioned, whenever we have two sets of data, apart from all these, for both the sets put together, you should find firstly what is called correlation. Now, what is this correlation? Very simple. The name itself indicates. It indicates the extent of relationship between the two. Between two variables, what's the extent of relationship? Now, how to interpret? Let's see that a little later. But first, we should know how to measure the extent of relationship. And if there is a good relationship, strong relationship, then what we do, with the help of value of one variable, we can estimate the value of another variable. And that we call as regression. Regression is estimation. So the relationship is strong. Then given the value marks in one subject, we can estimate marks in another subject. Given marks in second subject, we can estimate marks in first subject. That is called regression. So as a prelude, background for regression, we need correlation. But how to calculate this correlation? Firstly, this correlation is denoted by R. R is the symbol for correlation. And this is calculated using this formula, something called COVXY by standard deviation of X, standard deviation of. Now, what is this COVXY? Friends, it is called covariance. And don't confuse this with coefficient of variation, covariance. And how do we find this? Total of x into y by n minus 1. And this is exactly what we calculated. So when we kept ready this requirement, purpose was this. So what we do, we find something called covariance. Covariance. Now, how to find covariance? Total of xy, summation x into y, this divided by n minus 1. So in this, n is 5. So this divided by 5 minus 1. And this is what we call as covariance. But covariance is what we are calculating to help us calculate correlation. So how to find standard deviation? We found variance. Similar to find correlation, we are finding covariance. So keep ready for covariance. Now we are ready to calculate correlation, which is R. What is the formula? This covariance of x and y divided by standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y. So correlation is covariance divided by standard deviation of x into standard deviation of. Sure, in a normal calculator you can calculate this. So calculate standard deviation of x, standard deviation of y, and divide covariance by that. Hence we get correlation. So you can denote with 3, 4, whatever digit. And please remember, this correlation is always a value between -1 and +1, both values inclusive, meaning it can be -1, it can be +1, or any value in between that, any negative value, any positive value, or 0, but it cannot be more than -1, or it cannot be less than -1 or more than +1. This is the value you should get. So in case you're getting, there is some error in your calculation. What is the meaning? If correlation is positive, it means there's a direct relationship between the two variables. Direct relationship. What do you mean by direct relationship? It means if value of one variable is increasing, even the value of another variable is also increasing. If value of one variable is falling, value of another variable is also falling. So both move in the same direction. One increasing, other is also increasing. One is falling, other is also falling. That is called direct relationship. So if the correlation is positive, it means there is direct relationship. Obviously, when correlation is negative, it means there is inverse relationship. Inverse relationship, meaning if one is rising, other one is falling. If first one is falling, other one is rising. So they are going in opposite direction. That's the meaning of positive negative correlation. How does it impact us? Let us see. And what is how to interpret this number, though that interpretation may not be of much relevance in our discussion of the finance subject. But it's where the correlation is exactly 1. So let's say the correlation measure, what you get is exactly 1, plus or minus. Then we say there is perfect correlation. Perfect correlation. And it could be perfect positive correlation or perfect negative correlation. It means the change is happening proportionately. So this is, if it is 1, +1, -1, plus if it is plus, we say perfect positive correlation. If it is minus, we say perfect negative correlation. Now let's say the correlation value, the correlation measure what we got is 0.9 to 0.99. 0.9 to 0.99, positive or negative. Then we say there is very high degree of relation or correlation. Correlation is nothing but relation. Very high degree. Where the correlation is between 0.75 to 0.89. 0.75 to 0.89. Then we say there is high degree of correlation, where the correlation is between 0.5 and 0.74. We say there is moderate degree of correlation, where it is the correlation is between 0.25 and 0.49. We say there is low degree of correlation, where the correlation is between 0.01 and 0.24. We say it is insignificant correlation, and where it is 0. Correlation 0 means no relation or no correlation. And this is how we interpret the correlation value. In all these cases, it could be positive or negative. Positive indicates, if it is plus, indicates positive correlation, minus indicates negative correlation. Positive correlation means both moving in same direction. Negative correlation means both moving in opposite direction. But this interpretation, not to think much, not to worry much about. Keep in mind, but number is what we need. The interpretation, at least in our discussion, the usage is very less. So whenever we have two sets of data, for each set, calculate arithmetic mean, variance, standard deviation. For both the sets to put together, calculate covariance. How to find covariance? Summation of x into y. So this Summation means total of x into y. What is x into y? Deviations. So when you take the product of deviation total by n minus 1. Remember, when it is sample, it is always n minus 1. And that covariance, when you divide by standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y, it is correlation. Done. But what is the purpose of correlation? As I mentioned earlier, whenever there is a strong relationship, what we do? We estimate value of one of the variable when we know the value of the other variable. So given x value, we can estimate y value, or given the value of y, we can estimate the value of x. That estimation is called regression. But how to estimate? If you know the value of one, to find value of another, how to estimate? So for making estimation, we need an equation. What equation? Let us say we know value of x is given, we must find value of y. Let's say this is what we should do. Friends, then we make what is called regression equation of y on x. You see, we know x value, we should find y value. So whichever we have to find, that we write first. So y on x, regression equation of y on x. Obviously, let's say we know value of y is given, we must find value of x. Then we make what is called regression equation of x on y. Regression equation of x on y. So which we have to find, we write first. But let's keep in mind, though depending on what we need to find, we have to make equation. Usually this is the practice, at least in our discussion in finance. What we know, the value of which variable is given, we always take that as x. What we have to find, we always take that as y. So let us say you are given marks in SFM, marks in FR. Now, we are given for 5 students, 6th student, they give FR marks, we should find SFM marks. For 5 students, we have both. 6th student, we know marks in FR, but we should find marks in SFM. Now, since FR marks is given, we should find SFM. Whatever we know, whatever is given, that we take as always x, what we should find as y. So, x I take as FR marks, y I take as SFM marks, so that I can always make one equation, regression equation of y on x. Can easily make even x on y, but to avoid confusion of different equation, different formula, this is a standard practice. Whichever we need to find, that we take as y, whatever variable the value is given for, we take as x. Now, how to make this regression equation of y on x? How it will appear? Hence, this is regression equation of y on x. When do we use y on x? Given x, finding, we need to find y. And always standard practices, what is given, what we know, we take as x, what we have to find, we take as y. So if you learn how to make regression equation of y on x, it's enough. Now, how is the equation? This is how we write. Y is equal to alpha plus beta x. Just give attention to these terms, alpha plus beta x. Now, this is called regression equation of y on x. Now, once I have this equation, what can happen? If I substitute, if I put value of x here, I get value of y. But what do we need for this equation? We need 2 variables, 2 items, 2 measures called alpha and beta. So this is regression equation of y on x. So whenever we have 2 sets of data, correlation, but more important is regression. Particularly, we should know how to make regression equation of y on x. This is the equation. But for this equation, now what do we need? We need something called alpha and beta. This term beta, currently we're learning as just a statistical measure, but you will see very soon, entire finance, this concept of beta is the underlying concept. You use it literally everywhere, in all the context. It has a very big role to play. But what exactly is the meaning? There is finance, you will see, but first understand as a statistical measure. So y is equal to alpha plus beta x. Now, how to find beta and alpha? If you know this, you have the equation. Then if you put the value of x, we get the value. Now, how to find this? Then first we find beta. And in this equation, can you see? Let's say x is 10. So any change in y with the change in x will happen only because of this, correct? Because alpha is constant. Whether x is 0, 1, 10, 100,000, this won't change. But any change in y with the change in x is happening only because of beta. So this beta is called coefficient. Can you see it's a coefficient here? This is constant. So this is constant. This is coefficient. So we call beta coefficient. In statistics, this alpha is called as intercept. Beta is called slope. And please be aware of the statistical terms. So later in certain finance topics, if you are mentioned, the slope value for this was so much. So what is meant by slope value? Beta. The intercept in this case is so much. So what is the meaning of intercept there? Alpha. And what is this alpha and beta? What we use in regression equation. Beta is the coefficient, alpha is the constant. Now, how to find this alpha and beta? Means first we should find beta. Why first beta? Because to calculate this alpha, we only need value of beta. Now, how to find this beta? Please observe carefully. There are three formulae, and trust me, whatever we are learning in statistics till now is actually to learn how to calculate beta. Right from the very beginning, whatever we came across, purpose is beta. All other measure is just supporting to calculate beta. Our actual requirement in finance is this measure, this statistical measure called beta. Now, how to calculate this beta? And you see the first formula, R into sigma y by sigma x. And don't forget, this is regression equation of y on x. So if this is the case, this is the formula for beta. In case you have regression equation of x on y, it will be different. That's the reason, to avoid confusion of different formulae, standard always we consider regression equation of y on x. The given variable we take as x, the variable which we should find we take as y. So what's the formula for beta? R, that is correlation into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x. So in this case, beta slope is what we call. So if you go by the formula, R correlation into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x. Friends, this is the correlation into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x. Now, this is beta, plus minus what it comes. Let's not worry for the time being. Just take the number. How to interpret it? So in the relevant context in finance, we will see how to interpret this number beta. What does it tell us? We'll see that part later. But how to calculate? From statistical perspective, we are understanding. So this is beta, correlation into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x. So that was the reason actually we calculated standard correlation, else it would not have been a requirement. But what is interesting is beta, this is one formula and this is called the base formula. This is the actual formula for beta. But friends, please see here. What is R? How do we get R? Covariance between x and y by standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y. That is the formula for correlation. So let us say I put that formula here. Covariance x and y. Covariance x and y. So by standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y. Let's say. What happens then? Since in the denominator we have standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y, the standard deviation of y and this can get cancelled. So what remains? In the numerator we will have covariance of x and y. Denominator we will have standard deviation of x into standard deviation of x, and standard deviation into standard deviation, variance, standard deviation of x square, so it is variance of x. So what is the other formula or a simplified formula, the same. If you substitute the formula for R and simplify, what you get is covariance between x and y by variance of x. Covariance between x and y. What is sigma square? Variance of x. So this is another formula, and depending on how the information given, which formula to make use, you should be aware. So another formula is covariance. You see, this is covariance between x and y by variance of x. Variance of x. Use any formula, it should give the same number, obvious. It just same formula, we simplify. But friends, it can be even further simplified. How do we get covariance of x and y? Summation xy by n minus 1. So let's say I take that in the numerator. How do I get variance of x? Summation x minus x bar whole square, that is summation small x square by n minus 1. So if I substitute here, what remains? Both numerator denominator we have by n minus 1, which gets cancelled. So what remains is summation xy by summation x square. So even further simplified formula, which means I can even directly calculate if I take summation xy, total of xy by summation x square. I can get. Be aware, but normally to show in exams at least, we use either formula 1 or formula 2. This is just for our verification. So don't have to worry on this. And again, depending on context, either this or this is what we need, but have a clarity. This is how we calculate beta. So and this beta is minus 0.3608. So this is one item we need, component we need for regression equation of y on x. What next? Alpha, intercept, constant. How do we get this? Friends, y bar, that is arithmetic mean for y, minus beta into x bar. So alpha, intercept, constant is y bar, that is arithmetic mean for y, minus beta into x bar. So y bar, mean of y, and it is when it is y on x, regression equation of y on x. So it is y bar minus beta into x bar. X on y, the formula will not be same, but normally the only equation we learn how to make is y on x. So this is fine. So y bar, arithmetic mean of y minus beta into x bar. We get this number. Friends, this is what we call as alpha. Now with this, we have what is required for the equation. So I can even say y is equal to 72.93 plus beta into x, but since beta is negative, minus 0.3608 x. Now this is regression equation of y on x. So now if you put x value here, I get y value. But once again, our requirement is actually not the equation. For this estimation, projection is actually not what we do. We have to do how we know. Our requirement is actually this item beta. When alpha is not of great importance for us, we use it in few places. But our actual and main requirement is beta. So whatever we learn in statistics is to give us knowledge how to calculate this beta. But to calculate this beta, what do we need? Correlation and standard deviations. To find the standard deviation, what do we need? Variance. You can find variance only when you calculate mean. So whatever we discussed till now is actually to help us in learning how to calculate beta. Our requirement is basically this, beta. So if you know how to calculate, that is the statistics what we need. So the statistical measures what we need is, our ultimate requirement is to learn how to calculate this beta. Currently, we are just learning as a statistical measure, but this concept of beta is not restricted to statistics. In finance, calculation is same, but we give a very different interpretation. How to calculate is what we are learning. And in our discussion, what will be X, what will be Y, you will see them. So then you'll get to know in that context, what is the meaning, what is the interpretation. So this is the basic statistics, what you must know when we have one set of data, two sets of data, But all these are calculations for past data, observed data, given data. So now past observed data, one set, two sets, what all to calculate? If it is one set, arithmetic mean, variance, standard deviation, need be CV, coefficient of variation. These two sets of data, for each you find arithmetic mean, variance, standard deviation. Together you find correlation. To find correlation we need covariance, and using that correlation find beta and alpha, which is what we need to make what is called regression equation. Now even that regression equation as an equation, if you don't know, shouldn't matter to begin with, but be aware how to find this beta. All right. Now this is observed data. Now if it is projected data, estimated data, the measures what we calculate is same, but there will be a small difference in how the data will be. So let's see if it is projected data, estimated data. Now let us assume we have for 10 companies turnover of last year. That is observed data. But let us also assume we have calculated, we have found, we have estimated for next year what may be the turnover of the same 10 companies. Projected data. But this projection what we make, can we be 100% certain about it? No. So normally what we do, whenever we make a projection, we also find what is the chance that this will be the turnover, this will be the estimated value, this is the value what can happen in future. The chance of happening of that is what we call as probability. So probability is chance of happening or not happening of a certain event. So much is the turnover. That is what we're trying to estimate. What's the probability that that much will be turnover? Now, how to find that probability is a big discussion by itself. But now let us learn, known, given the probability, what measure we should calculate. How to find that probability is not our immediate requirement. So let's say this is how the data is. So let's say turnover, which I call as X, for 5 companies. So let's say 100 crores, 150 crores, 135 crores, 140 crores, 200 crores, some number. But since it is projected, we will also have probability for this. This probability we denote with P. P will also be having probability for this. Now, how to find this is a different discussion. But let's say we are aware, we have estimated what is the chance next year the turnover will be 100 crores, 150 crores. And unless we consider all possibilities that can happen, you can't make any analysis. So this is what we do. Probability chance percentage, or we express in decimal, and we take all possibilities. It should be 100% coverage, or in decimal it should be 1. So this probability, the total should be 1. So let's say 0.3, 0.1, 0.2, 0.1, 0.3. Now, what is this? How do we read this? There is 30% chance, 30% probability that turnover next year will be 100 crores. There's a 10% chance turnover next year will be 150 crores. 20% chance it will be 135. That is the meaning. And the total probability must always be equal to 1, indicating all the possibilities have been covered. So all these are the possibilities. So if there is anything uncovered, then you don't have data for analysis. It may happen, but when you have to analyze the data, all possibilities should be captured. When you take all possibilities, the total probability should be 1, or this is what can happen, and the total of this is 100%. So all these are the possibilities to happen. Now, this is how you will have for estimated data one set of data. One set of data. But let's say we have more than one set of data. How? Let us say if it is one set of data, then this is how we will have. So we'll have variable x, y, whatever, and probability. Probabilities will be made available. If made available, what analysis to do is what we are learning. And total probability must be equal to 1. Please ensure that. Friends, as usual, even here, we should calculate the same thing. One set of data. First, we should find one value to represent the entire data. One measure to represent the entire data. Measure of central tendency. Arithmetic mean. But friends, instead of using the word arithmetic mean, it is probability, we call it as expected value. Expected value. Nothing but mean. Arithmetic mean only. But that is not the term we use. It's called expected value. So expected value is the term we use for arithmetic mean. If it is past observed data, we use the term arithmetic mean. Projected data, estimated data, and how to find? We'll have probabilities given. That is indication it is projected data. Then instead of arithmetic mean, we use the term expected value. Now, how to find arithmetic mean for probability distribution or expected value? Summation sigma total of x into probability for x. Hence, we have x values and probability. So if I take x into probability of x into probability, and the total, that itself is expected value. So x into probability, 100 into 0.3, 150 into 0.115, 135 into 0.2, 27, 140 into 0.1, 14, 200 into 0.3, 60. Take the total. Friends, this 146 is expected value, or what we call as mean. So on an average, what may be the turnover for next year? 146 crores. So there is 30% chance the turnover next year may be 100 crores. 10% chance it may be 150 crores. But on an average, what can we expect to be the turnover for next year? 146 crores. So first measure in one set of data is mean, but here instead of the word mean, we call it as expected value. This is how we calculate. Now, what's the next requirement? Standard deviation. But to find standard deviation, as you are aware, we should calculate what? Variance. Now, how to find variance? So previously, x minus x bar, x minus mean deviation, square it. The total we used to divide by n minus 1. So we know the formula for observed data. Now, if it is probability distribution, projected data, this is what we do. X minus E of x. E of x is how we denote arithmetic mean. E of x. So this is variance of x. Variance of x. This standard deviation of x, or we use the term sigma, symbol sigma. So E of x is nothing but expected value of x. That's the meaning. So what do we do? From each item of x minus mean E of x, square it. So nothing but deviation, square, multiply this square with probability, and add, you get variance. So x minus mean or expected value square into probability, total is variance. So when it is observed data, after we take deviation, the total we divide by n minus 1, but here we multiply with 1. So what do we do here? First I take x minus E of x. X minus E of x. Don't have to show individually, we can do directly, but just for simplicity. So x minus E of x, 146. 150 minus 146, etc. Take this, you square it. X minus E of x whole square. So take the square of this, minus 46 into minus 46. 4 into 4, minus 11 into minus 11, square it. that our requirement is whatever you get after squaring, multiply that with probability. So this multiply so x minus e of x whole square into probability So this into probability 16 into probability into probability 16 into 0.1 121 into 0.2 keep doing it we get a number 1539 and this 1539 is variance directly. So no further calculation required. Once you do this calculation, in the table itself we get the variance one. So just doing all this is all that we have to do. But then our requirement is standard deviation, as you know, square root of variance is standard deviation. So in this case, the standard deviation is 39.23. So given one set of data, this is what we need. Usually, all this we do together. X minus e of x square into probability. We can generally show it as one single step instead of showing all this individually. How we can speed in our calculation, you can decide, but this is our requirement. So whenever we have projected data, which is what we call probability distribution, one set of data. So like in case of observed data, calculate mean, average, but the term we use is expected value. Please keep the term in mind because there's a reference of the term itself should give us an idea at a later stage what calculation should be made. So let's say calculate expected value, expected option value, expected NPV, some context we mentioned. So when the term expected is what we use whenever it's a probability distribution. Variance, so from each value of x minus the mean square into probability that you take total. And whatever variance you get square root always standard deviation. As usual, if you need standard deviation by mean, you can get CV, coefficient of variation, and we need we calculate. But friends, let us say we have two sets of data. What we have to calculate is exactly same for each set, mean or expected value, variance, standard deviation. For both put together, correlation and make regression equation. For making regression equation, we need beta, alpha. This is all we need as usual. But how to make the calculation when we have two sets of data? Let us see. Just taking another sheet to display this. So let's say this is what we have. X and Y. X, Y probability. So as usual, let X be marks in one subject, marks in other subject. Turnover, profits, whatever. Expenditure and advertisement, turnover, something. Let's not, for the time being, think what it is, but you have two variables. Let's say this is what we have. So let's say 23, 47, just make it simple, 25, 40, 65, 30. So this date 40, 55, 70, let's say 35. It is given four values. It could be any number. And probabilities, let's keep in mind and ensure you remember the total probability must always be equal to 1. So let's say make it as 0.2, 0.1, 0.4, 0.3. Always total must be 1. Now, what does it mean? There's 20% chance that X will be so much, Y will be so much in the first situation. 10% chance X and Y will be so much, etc. Now, whenever we have two sets of data, if it is observed data, what template we should keep? You have seen calculate mean, deviation, squares, product. Now, if it is probability distribution, just do this much, and standard, once again, just keep it so much ready, all the other things will immediately happen. So first we take X into probability, Y into probability. So this, when you calculate and total, will give us means, expected value. Then X minus E of X whole square into probability. So showing the calculation directly, X minus E of X. So X minus the expected value square into probability. Similarly, Y minus E of Y whole square into probability. And also X minus E of X into Y minus E of Y into probability, which is nothing but deviation of X into deviation of Y. Now if you observe there, X minus mean, we call it a small x square. Here same square, but we are multiplying with probability. Y minus Y bar, small y square, there we should just take square. Here after taking square, we are multiplying with probability. Deviation of X into deviation of Y, small x into small y, X into Y, same, but multiply with probability. So this is the standard template we need to keep ready to help us to calculate this. And once the template is ready, the calculation is ready, then formula application is just a matter of time. In few seconds you can calculate. So first, X into probability. So 25 into 0.2, 40 into 0.1, 65 into 0.4. This is E of X, we say, expected value of X. So in fact, you get it in the table itself. You don't have to separately calculate, like in the case of observed data. Similarly, Y into probability, 40 into 0.2, 55 into 0.1, 70 into 0.4. So you get 52. Then this is E of Y, that is mean for Y. Then X value minus mean 44 square into, so X value 25 minus 44, 19, square it into probability. You get some number. So same calculation, let's do for everything. So 40 minus 44 minus 4 square 16 into 0.1, 1.6. So you're getting the values. Now take the total. Friends, this total what you get itself is variance of X. That's it. So no further calculation required. Whenever we have two sets of data, probability distribution, projected data, table itself gives us all the measures. Just fill the table, and this is the standard template you must use. Similarly, Y minus Y bar. y minus y bar, that is y minus e of y expected value square into probability. So we get 28.8, etc. Take the total. Then this itself is variance of y. That's it. So y minus e of y, 40 minus 52 minus 12 square 144 into 0.2, 28.8. 55 minus 52, 3 square is 9, 9 into 0.1 point. Finally, x minus e of x into y minus e of y into probability. So x minus e of x into y minus e of y. So deviations, but whenever it is a probability distribution into probability, so we get a number. Same we do for all. So 40 minus 44 minus 4, 55 minus 52 plus 3, minus 4 into plus 3, minus 12, minus 12 into 0.1, minus 1.2. So do that calculation, friends. This itself is covariance between x and covariance. So previously, let us observe data of this. We divide by n minus 1. So we do some other operation to get covariance. But in probability distribution, everything is readily available. So everything you get here. Now this is the template you must keep ready whenever we have two sets of data with probabilities, a probability distribution. Now let us summarize all this and calculate whatever is required. So let's say expected value, nothing but mean. So we already have 44, 52. Variance 309, 246. Ready, but standard deviation. So not there. How to find standard deviation? Square root of variance. So square root of this. Square root of this. Square root is nothing but power of 1 by 2. So please refer our video on mathematics of finance. So standard deviation. Now this is what we need for each set. Now, since you have two sets, what else we need? Correlation. But for correlation, our first requirement is covariance between x and y. So we have that covariance x and y already, 267. Now all the other measures, formula remains the same. So correlation. Now, how did we calculate correlation earlier? Same formula we use here also. Correlation, covariance of x and y by standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y. That remains same. Just how we calculated this was different. So how do we? How much is covariance? 267 by standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y. So this is coefficient of correlation or 9684. How to interpret we have seen. There is a very high degree of positive correlation, but what is the interpretation usually is not of a requirement for us. So this is correlation. Formula is same, just what we need to calculate, that correlation differs since it's a probability distribution. Then what do we need? Regression equation of y on x. Always there's a standard. We only make y on x. So whenever you have to decide what we know, take as x, what you have to find, take as y. So y on x is what we need, regression equation of y on x, which is y is equal to alpha plus beta x. For this, what do we need? Beta. We also call it a slope value. How do you calculate beta? What's the basic formula? R, correlation into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x. So correlation into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x. So this is beta. Whatever the number, how to interpret all that in the subject, in the context we will understand, but how to calculate, be aware. So 0.8641, but you know, there's an alternative formula. Instead of this, covariance between x and y by variance of x, covariance x and y by variance of x, variance of x should also give us the same number. So calculate using any formula. But the third formula, what we had, summation xy by summation x squared, in this you can make out is not applicable because what we have is different. So this is beta, and as I mentioned, our actual requirement is knowing how to calculate beta. Finally, alpha, constant, intercept. How do we calculate alpha? Y bar, that is E of y minus beta into x bar, or E of x. So y bar minus beta into x bar. And this is alpha. So in case we need to make regression equation, so you can make it as, normally we show only 2 digits. Y is equal to 13.98 plus beta 0.86 x. So this is how we write regression equation. But the equation is actually of not of requirement. Our actual requirement is beta. When alpha may not have big role to play for us, our actual requirement is this beta. So the entire purpose of learning statistics is how to calculate this beta value. So if that is clear, good. And all these are background to learn that. So let's remember, statistics for finance, we should learn in 2 situations. When you're given past or observed data, projected or estimated data, that is frequency distribution, probability distribution, how to find various statistical measures. That depends on, is it one set of data, 2 sets of data. Is one set of data, whichever, let it be frequency or probability distribution, find average, mean, we call arithmetic mean or expected value, variance, and we find variance to find standard deviation, square root of variance is standard deviation. Using standard deviation and mean, we can find what is called CV, coefficient of variation. But it's 2 sets of data. For each set, you calculate all the measures and then calculate for both these measures, for both these variables, correlation, extent of relationship. And using that, we make an equation to estimate value of one variable given the value of another variable. Normally, what we know we take as x, what we define we take as y. So how to estimate? By making an equation called regression equation, or regression equation of y on x. And in this regression equation, as you have seen, we have a need for the statistical measures called alpha and beta. How to calculate that is the formula. So know these formulae. All that is required to calculate beta, friends, whatever statistics we need to learn finance, to apply finance, are ready. So from here on, you won't have any trouble with the calculations because all the required background we have. But it's essential that we remember all these formulas. So right from past observed data, one set of data, what all we need, 2 sets of data, what all we need. Similarly, projected measures are same, but the formula is different, but it's just till you get used to doing it. And these calculations we repeat again and again and again in finance. So how much practice is there? This calculation won't take time. Focus can be on what is required to be learned in finance. You can focus on. So have a great learning. Please enjoy. Ensure you practice on this. Have a great day. Please visit our website www.drvrk.in to find the courses we offer, the schedule, and all other details. All the best. Thank you.